Good afternoon, students. Today's class we are going to learn about names and dates. Names and dates. So, previous class even we learned about 12,000 years ago. So, whatever the changes have taken place, especially the climatic condition of the world. So that led to so many developments also. Then before going to start to learn about the beginning of a farming and earning, so just I would like to give a brief explanation about names and dates. Names and dates. Dear students, archaeologists have given lengthy names for the time that we are studying. They call the earliest period the Paleolithic. So, the archaeologists, so they were called the earliest period as Paleolithic. So, what is the meaning of a Paleolithic? See, actually, this word comes from two Greek words. Two Greek words. These words actually derived from two Greek words, paleo and lith. So, what is the meaning of paleo and what is the meaning of lith? See here, lithos, that means stone. Lithos means stone and paleo means wood. So, paleolithic, that means World Stone Age. Are you getting this, students? So Paleolithic means World Stone Age. So here the name points to the importance to finds of stone tools. Especially the Paleolithic period extends from 2 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. The Paleolithic this is actually 2 million years ago to 12,000 years ago. Getting this, students? It's a, stood for 2 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. So this period we used to call as a Paleolithic. Okay. See, this long stretch of time is divided into lower, middle and upper Paleolithic. So again, the Paleolithic is actually the lengthy one, 2 million years ago to about 12,000 years ago. So that's what again, so the Paleolithic it was divided into lower and middle and upper Paleolithic. Getting now? So lower, middle and upper Paleolithic. So this long span of time covers 99% of the human history. See dear students, the 99% of the human history it is covered so in this Paleolithic age only. Then afterwards the period when we find the environmental changes, that is about 12,000 years ago. So here the beginning about 12,000 years ago till about 10,000 years ago, so that is called the Mesolithic period. The Mesolithic period. So I hope dear students you have understood about the Paleolithic. So the next Mesolithic period. That means Mesolithic means, anybody can you guess? Already I taught this one, Middle Stone Age. Middle Stone Age and start for 12,000 years ago to 10,000 years ago. Got it, dear students? See here, the Mesolithic Stone Age Here, the stone tools found during this period are generally tiny and are called microliths. Understood? So microliths were probably stuck onto handles of bone or wood to make tools such as saw and even the sickles also. At the same time, so older varieties of tools continue to be in use also. And the next stage, that is about 10,000 years ago. After the 10,000 years ago, that is known as Neolithic period. Neolithic period. The same day, students, the Neolithic, this also derived from the Greek word. Neo means new, okay, and lithos means stone. So Neolithic period is that is about new stone age. Got it now? Neolithic means new stone age. So this is a short explanation about names and dates, especially Paleolithic age, Mesolithic age, and Neolithic age. And we know that from where to where we are considered the Paleolithic and also the Mesolithic and also the Neolithic. So we all of you knows that we came to know that about 99% of the human history that is going to be covered in Paleolithic age zone. Are you understood now? Now let us discuss about the beginning of farming and herding. The beginning of farming and herding. So it is very clear about the different ages which I have explained. That is about the Paleolithic, Mesolithic and Neolithic age. So Paleolithic means that is old stone age and Mesolithic means that is middle stone age and Neolithic means that is about the new stone age. Now let us discuss about the beginning of farming and herding. See dear students, this was also a time when several grain bearing grasses including wheat, barley and rice grew naturally in a different parts of the subcontinent. So these were some of the common grains which were grown in the different parts of the subcontinent such as wheat, barley, understood now, and rice. So these food grains were grown in the different parts of the subcontinent. See here, men, women and children. So probably they were collected these grains as food and learned where they grew also. And when they ripened, this may have led them to think about growing plants and their world. In this way, people, so they were became farmers. So they completely knows about where they grew and when they ripened. So here the men, women and children. So probably before they were collected, then afterwards, so they were learned about to grew. So in a different parts of our subcontinent. And also people could attract them the name, especially there were some of the animals also tamed by leaving food for them near their shelters and then the so in this way they were attracted some of the animals, then they were tamed those animals also. So here, the first animal to be tamed was the wild ancestors of the dog. Dog was the first animal which was actually tamed by the earliest human beings. So the first animal was the dog. Got it now? So later people encouraged animals that were relatively gentle to come near the camps such as goat, cattle and also sometimes a pig lived in the huts and most of them ate grass. Often people protected these animals from attacks by other wild animals also. See, this is how they became herders. I hope dear students, how they were so start to learn the farming and hunting also. Now let us discuss about a new way of life. A new way of life. See here, actually we know that when you plant a seed, you will notice that it takes some time to grow. So ಒಂದು ಗಿಡವನ್ನು ಹಾಕಿದ ತಕ್ಷಣ ಅಥವಾ ಒಂದು ಬೀಜವನ್ನು ಇಟ್ಟ ತಕ್ಷಣ we cannot get the result immediately. So this may be for several days. It is actually depend upon the plant or depend upon the crop or depend upon the seeds. Sometimes several that particular seed to grow, it may taken several days also, and some are taken weeks, months, and in some is years also. See, when people began growing plants, it means that they had to stay in the same place for a long time looking for the animals, especially to protect those plants from the other animals also. And even so they were learnt about, so after looking after the plants, watering, feeding and even driving away animals and birds also. So till the grain ripe. And then dear students, so the grain had to be used carefully also. It is very much important. The grain also we should be very careful. See, as a grain had to be stored for both food and seed. They were used the grains for both purposes. So the main purpose, food, and even so to for the next growing as a seed. See, people had to think of ways of storing it. The people, so they were start to think about how to store. How to store. See, in many areas, they began making a large clay pot or wove baskets or dug pits into the ground also. So in this way, the earliest people, so they were actually start to store the different food grains also. Getting now? Now let us discuss about storing animals. What is the meaning of storing animals? Whether is it possible to store the animals? See, animals multiply naturally. So besides if they are looked after carefully, so we all of you knows that animals are providing the different things such as milk, which is an important source of food, and also meat also, and whenever they required. So the animals, they were providing all these things, milk and meat. In other words, so animals that are reared can be used as a store of food. Sometimes, of course, dear students, nowadays also we are rearing different animals as a store of food. When we required, so we are going to get utilized those animals for meat purpose and even for milk purpose. So this is also, I mean, rearing animals also can be used as a store of food even till today also. Now let us discuss about the first farmers and herders. First farmers in our subcontinent. See, we can observe that in the map 2, which is given in the page number 13. So there are the different sites were marked in the blue squares. So each marks aside from where archaeologists have found evidence of early farmers and herders. So these are found all over the subcontinent, and some of the most important ones are in the northwest. In the northwest means present day Kashmir. So this is the first, and also dear students, in East and South India, the archaeologists they were found some of the evidence. So in the northwest, in present day Kashmir, and even East and South India also. See, to find out whether these sites were settlements of farmers and herders, scientists studied evidence of plants and animal bones, because without it's a very difficult process to construct history, especially where we cannot get the written documents. Of course, dear students, so nowadays we can get a lot of written documents, a lot of evidence to construct the history, and it's become so easy for historians. But it's really a very challengeable task for the historians to construct about the ancient history. So why? Because where the people they cannot get written documents, proper evidence. It's like an adventure also. Construct a history about the past days, especially during these periods where we cannot get the written documents or other, where we are the archaeologists and the scientists completely depend upon the archaeological materials or the remains of the past. See, scientists can identify these grains, and so we know that a number of crops were grown in different parts of the subcontinent. See, this can also identify the bones of different animals also. So, in this way, students, so we can find out the first farmers and herders in our subcontinent. Now, let us discuss about towards a settled life. So, we all of knows that the earliest people, they were hunters and gatherers, and they were roaming one place to another place in search of food. Then, later onwards, so these hunters and gatherers, so they were started, settled life. So, archaeologists have found traces of huts of houses at some times. And for instance, in Burjahom, in the present day Kashmir, so people built pit houses, so which were dug into the ground, so with steps leading into them. So these many have provided shelter in cold weather. So that maybe those people they were aware about the different seasons. So according to climate, according to weather, so they were constructed the houses whatever they were have by using their knowledge. See, archaeologists have also found cooking hearths both inside and outside the hut. Both inside and outside the huts. See, we suggest that depending on the weather, people could cook food either indoor or outdoor also. Are you getting this, students? See, stone tools have been found from many sites as well. Many of these are different from the earlier Paleolithic tools, and that is why they are called Neolithic. So that means the new stone age. See, these include tools that were polished to give a fine cutting edge, and mortars and pestles used for grinding grain also, and other plant produces also. These mortars and pestles are used for grinding grain even today also. We are using it, especially in a rural area. So, of course, dear students, if there is no electricity, so we should go through the stone tools only to grind the food grains, even the present day also. So, several thousand years later, at the same time, tools of the Paleolithic types continued to be made and used. And remember, some tools were also made of so they were used stone, they were used wood, and then they were used the different animals' bone to make. They were used all this different to make their tools. See, many kinds of earthen pots have also been found. So these were sometimes decorated also. Then that shows that their interest and were used for storing things. What purpose they were? So for especially storing things. People began using pots for cooking food, especially grains like rice, wheat, and even the lentils that now became an important part of the diet also. So, besides, they began weaving cloth and using different kinds of materials also. For example, cotton. Okay, so in this type, so they were start to grow also. See, do things change everywhere and all at once? Not quite. So, in many years, men, women, so still continue to hunt and gather. Even though, dear students, in the modern age also, even in this scientific age also, there we can see the different kinds of the socio community, religious or tribe groups. So still they were so depend on hunting and gathering to collect and collecting food, and they are surviving their life. And elsewhere, people adopted farming and herding slowly. So over several thousand years besides, in some cases people tried to combine these activities doing different things during different seasons. They came to know that so the different seasons also that is actually depend upon the weather and climatic conditions. So based on weather and climatic conditions, the people they were start to grow the season wise crops also. So actually the human life completely depend upon the including food habits, the weather and climatic conditions of that respective region. Got it? Now we'll continue in the next class. Thank you. Have a nice day.